Hey everyone, it's so great to be back in the hood with Erin and Sarit and Amanu Strength. And I don't know if I pronounced that right, so we'll let them repronounce it. I am so grateful to be here. These are two rock stars that we've just been working so close hand in hand. And, they are really 100% transforming women's lives. I remember when I had a conversation with Sarit a couple weeks ago, and I believe you mentioned it was 1,080 transformations that you've had, or probably even more at this point in the program that we're going to discuss. And I just want to welcome them and let them introduce themselves, and then we'll get going. So all you leaders and high performers will have some information around blood sugar balancing.
Ooh.
Blood sugar.
Yeah, I mean, where do we want to get started, Holly? There are so many things that we've talked about in the realm of wellness, gut health, hormone health, body image health,
self-confidence, health status and self-confidence, health status and energy levels.
I want to say this. I think the greatest, hi, Sarah, I see you're here. I think that the greatest value because this is about whoever's watching right now, and whatever you're here to hear is what you'll catch, is what you'll pick up. And the value of being connected in these type of videos, investing your time in these type of videos, is what golden nugget, even if there's just one piece that you take away from any of these conversations, that you can apply to your life, can literally be the shift, the little thing you apply that shifts everything for you. Quick story. I am learning how to DJ. Yeah. And I'm watching all these YouTube videos, and this is what people do with health too, right? Weight loss, nutrition, hormones. They go on YouTube, they watch, here's my problem, how do I fix it? And so I'm becoming a DJ, YouTube certified DJ. And I bought a lesson. Actually, I bought a few lessons from an actual DJ who's been doing it for a long time. And he came over to the house and he's teaching me, music theory stuff, whatever. And then he's like, okay, cool. Let's go onto the controller and let's do some things and mix some songs. I'm like, that's scary. Okay. I've been trying to do it by myself and it sounds terrible. He showed me literally, Holly, one stupid thing that was so easy, and everything sounded so much better. And I was like, if I just knew that 2 weeks ago. And so sometimes it's just one tweak. Mm-hmm. It's just one thing that you didn't hear in a way that you understand, or one piece of information that you hadn't begun to apply because you didn't know what you didn't know. So I hope that, you're just looking, whoever's watching this right now, look for that, listen for that one piece, the one piece that could change things for you.
Mm-hmm. All it takes is one thing to create a shift.
Yeah, 100%. And it's the foundations and the step and the desire to get there. And one of the things that I love about Erin and Sarit are so many, but it's not like, let's just macro out your nutrition, or let's just take a walk, or let's just work really hard in the CrossFit gym. It's all of the pieces of the puzzle together that actually stack for you to actually transform. And exactly what Erin was saying, it's sometimes it's just a little tweak. I had a patient yesterday that called me, anxiety. All I did was I'm like, let's look at your nervous system. Let's give you some B12. And he's like, holy cow, that was it.
Yeah, so simple.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and a lot of what's going on in the world right now, especially over the last few years, I think this will be a good, if we get into the weeds of it all, for people to take things away. One of the things that's happening is because of the separation that 2020 created, because of the disconnection that 2020 created, there's a lot more depression, a lot more anxiety. And, this is about, weight loss, body transformation, internal health, and all of that. And, one of the things in regards to depression and anxiety is when you clean up your nutrition in a way that feels empowering, like when something's challenging for you and you overcome it, or when you say you're going to do something and you do it and you follow through with it, the level of confidence that you begin to build and the momentum that you create in that is very powerful. And it's amazing because you can create a purpose for yourself that lowers just a level of human nature, depressive type feelings, not chemical, but just like not having a purpose type of makes me sad, and so even if it's like, let's say tactical, like you eat ice cream every night, or you have donuts every Sunday morning, or you have like whatever's the one thing, like you can think about the one thing that you do with your nutrition that you're like, every time you do it, you're like, this is not helping me. And I know it, and I'm still choosing it. And I wish that I wasn't choosing it, but something in me, like I can't help myself. Rather than thinking, this is one of the really, really, really big things that our clients, like it shifts everything for them, is rather than saying like, I can never eat this thing, it's two options. A, is there a better version of this for me? Like, is there a healthier version of this? Or let me just like minimize the quantity a little bit. So I'm not taking it away. I'm not stripping myself of something I really enjoy. And most people think that that won't make a difference. They think I got to stop eating carbs. I have to stop drinking alcohol. I have to, cut it all out. And this is not sustainable if that's not what you're acclimated to. So that's my piece that I want to.
Yeah, so good. Did you want to add anything, Sarit, before we really step into some like deep questions that I want to ask?
Yeah. So, like currently there 49% of Americans are morbidly obese. And, like stats don't lie and data doesn't lie, right? So it is very evident that, this is becoming an issue that is more and more prevalent, and it continues to progress, right? So whenever that happens, we got to ask ourselves the question of what is the cause of that? And here's what we've seen, and here's why what we do is different. So what we have seen is that when it comes to anything body manipulation, as far as, like drop a couple of pounds, drop a lot of pounds, like get more toned, or, get super jacked, whatever that may be. As a matter of fact, like I'd love to know from whoever is live, think for yourself, like when it comes to manipulating my own body, what am I seeking? Is it weight loss? Is it getting more toned? Or is it becoming healthier? So get clear on which of those you fit in.
Or is it looking good naked?
AKA all the above. So with regards to that, what we've seen is that, like it is taken very much on a surface level. Yeah. Eat this, don't eat this, right? Like work out this much or do this type of workout. And what we have found that is missing is the connection of what makes us who we are. We are not just our body. We are a body, a mind, and a soul connected. And should we not align both our body, our mind, and our soul, it doesn't matter how good, quote unquote, this strategy is. You're only going to be able to do it for so long. And that's why, like before we were able to crack the code within our own selves, before we've, like transformed thousands of lives, that's exactly what we used to struggle with, right? Like we took things like for face value and we applied this on a very surface level, right? Like calorie counting, this diet, that diet, this workout program, that workout program. And what ended up happening? the same thing time and time and time again. So what we got to take into consideration is, who are we and what is the purpose of that? And that's where we start. That's when we can start to, begin the discussion on everything beneath the surface. It's just like a bamboo tree. For example, a bamboo tree takes 5 years to shoot up to be 30 feet tall.
Yeah.
Within the first 4 years and 11 months, you're not even going to see the bamboo at all. You're going to wonder. You're going to wonder where the bamboo is. And then in 30 days, it shoots all the way up. Why is that? Because the bamboo grows really, really strong roots beneath the surface, because the stronger the roots are, the higher it can go up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So whenever
people skip the basics,
right,
and they go straight to the sexy method.
Right. So everybody goes straight into okay, let me see how my bamboo tree's shooting up, AKA how, the external manifestation is shifting. And when we don't focus on all the processes that go beneath the surface, what could potentially be the unsexy, the unseen, right? Then what we end up doing is we cut ourselves short. And our runway with regards to leading to our physical potential, right, becomes 7 days, 14 days, 21 days, 30 days, whatever it may be. When you play the game right, the longer you're playing the game, the better you get, just like us. For example, we cracked the code within our own selves because we used to struggle with our own weight and our own, self-confidence and all of that for over a decade. And each and every single year, we're currently in our mid-30s, we keep on getting better and better. And I see way too many women think to themselves that just because they're over the age of 25, that now their metabolism has to go down, or just because a woman, has given birth or, got invested in her career, she can do this. No, the question that we got to ask ourselves, if that is something that you really want, is how can I? And just like what Erin said with the DJ beforehand, and who can help me with that? Mm-hmm. And of course, that's why they come to you. And that's why, we keep on collaborating.
Exactly.
Because it'll get you to the results so much faster. So yeah, let's get to your questions.
Yeah, no, exactly. And what I want to say with that too is what Sarit was saying, and Erin, is that for all of you that are listening now and in the future, it takes 3 months for the body to truly make a healing change. It takes 3 months. So when I do iridology and pulse diagnosis and I look in somebody's eyes and I look at where their organ weaknesses are, I'm not going to see a change for 3 months. It's going to take that period of time to actually physically make a change. And so, we always talk about the foundations. And it's not about the surface. And Sarah, I love your question, because so many people get overwhelmed. And then what happens when we get overwhelmed and have a human moment and our brain is overwhelmed? We just stop.
We think it's not for us, right? We start believing those stories that have been dictating our lives.
It's too hard. I don't have time. It's not for me. I can't follow through. Whatever it is. We've heard them all. We've said them all. Oh, Holly's frozen. Look at that. She's in a storm. I don't know if y'all live can still hear us, but Holly's in a storm right now, and she's trooping through all of this. So we get to entertain. I hope you guys can still see us.
Yeah. So, what we want to share with you today are a couple of steps to help you consider perhaps some things that you might have not considered within your own health and body transformation journey yet, so that you can start applying it. So, a lot of times when it comes to, I think
we're still live.
Okay, great. So, like when it comes to nutrition, a lot of times, we get the question of, okay, tell me what to eat or tell me what not to eat. So, I believe that there's a better way, because if it is quote unquote restricting, right? Especially if we've told ourselves the story of, oh, like I normally past day 7 or past day 21, I have a hard time following through with. The question is, okay, well, tell me, what is it that you like to eat and what are your goals, right? Because when it comes to our nutrition, we get to look at it in how can we think about food that helps us to get to our goals as a reward rather than a punishment. So many times we think that eating clean is a punishment when the reality is that it's not. So the question is, how can we, number one, create the food in a way that feels to ourselves, to our palates, to our bodies like a reward, and also rewards us with regards to where it is that we want to go.
What if it was fun to lose weight and get in shape? Like, what if it was fun? What if you enjoyed it? There is a way.
Yeah. So that's thing number one. And you want to think about it in terms of how, knowing my palate, knowing where I want to go, if there is something that I can do that is better than right now, right? Do that. And now here's the thing. You might not drop 30 pounds in 30 hours, and you will be able to continue to grow just like that bamboo tree within 300 days. Because the longer you stay in the course, the better results you get. Holly, you jumped off for a second, so we kind of just like stole the show.
Love you stole my show. You can steal my show anytime. So let's jump into questions. I don't know what you were I think you were helping Sarah, but let's talk about the two of you as body transformation specialists. Can you talk about the key factors that actually optimize muscle building, your metabolism, and fat burning that you work through with your clients?
Yeah, go.
Yeah, so I mean, it's really simple. It comes down to habits, and habits is, of course, a huge umbrella. So, under the umbrella of habits, it comes down to 4 things. It comes to movement habits, nutrition habits, lifestyle habits, and thought habits.
I wish we had a whiteboard.
How we think will determine the choices that we make. You can have the best intentions in the world. Now, if you do not tackle your thought habits, you can continue doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. So it'll be a huge disservice to not focus on that, because ultimately, when you change the way you look at things, the things that you start to see change. Okay. And when it comes to movement habits, movement is food and food is medicine. Our body was designed to move. Now, we want to move in a way that serves us. So what we found to be metabolically the most efficient way that allows women to boost their metabolism and also build the biggest metabolic engine, which is our muscles, is compound movements performed at a higher intensity. Like a lot of times women say, well, I want to drop weight and I want to get toned up. So the way to do that is, like just doing strength training without getting our heart rate up can build up our muscle, while at the same time, it can take away from burning fat. That's why a lot of women end up saying, I want to get toned and I also want to drop weight. And then they end up going into running, right? Like it's a huge thing. And then what ends up happening is that they end up burning muscle, which actually makes it a lot more difficult, right? And that's why, we see a lot of runners from a physicality standpoint who are, like, I don't like to use terms, but let's just use it because I know it's familiar to a lot of people, like skinny fat, right? It's like the skin is sagging, yet they continue like focusing on burning more and more and more and more and more calories. The question is there a better way? Yes, there is a better way. And let me tell you something, you actually don't need more than 30 minutes a day.
Yes. I feel like any like female watching this is right now is like, well, what do I do? How do I do that? Holly, I know that you were talking to your community about a challenge that we have coming up, which we give a free 14-day workout program in. That is a great place to start too, where it's like a safe way to introduce compound movements without weight. Doing it with us, watching us on video, being able to kind of copy what we do. And then also at a high intensity, like Sarit's talking about. So, and they're only 30 minutes long. So that's, Holly, I know that you put the link. Yeah. So there's a link that challenge is free. It's 5 days, starts on Monday. And like Sarit's talking about, which thought habits is coming up, which was one of the 4 pillars is, the 5 days, that's really what we focus intently on. We just give you the workouts so that you can do them, so that you have movement that you can do. But really the real, like the bamboo growing down is the perspective, is the thought habits, is the how do you apply these things to your life, because you're unique and your schedule is unique and the way you think is unique and your family is unique and your home environment is unique and your work environment is unique. So how do you take the principles that we teach and apply them specifically to your life so you can begin where you're at, which is how we work with our clients, like start where you are and what's the next step, and let's get really good at that next step. And then we take the next one and let's get really good at that. So almost it becomes your new normal, rather than going from, oh, here's what I'm used to, here's how I eat now, here's what I don't move at all or work out at all now. I just stole this from you. But most people go from where they're at now to 18 steps forward and then expect to succeed there when you have not acclimated. You haven't created each step along the way and made that normal to you. And so when you do it that way, it's easy. It is simple. It doesn't feel so strenuous, and the success is long-term. So I could keep going. That we're going to teach you all that, though. Click on the link that Holly put in there. It's a free 5-day challenge that starts on Monday. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You can go.
I was just going to say when Sarit and Erin, like, definitely join that challenge. When they're walking you through that challenge, like, the best way is to do what Erin just said. And I do this with my patients is, whatever comes up with you for that gut instinct to change that one thing, maybe 2, write it down and make it your goal, because they're just like such a wealth of information. And so many of us, and I know my patients are like, well, you eat perfect. Like, well, what's perfect? Like, no, like I may choose to eat the way that works for me. And we're unique as an individual, just like Erin was saying. And we get to keep reminding ourselves that, because our genetics are unique, our schedule is unique. And that's one of the reasons why when I create a treatment plan, like, I'm not going to create the same one for Erin and the same one Sarit, even though they both had the goals of being like the muscular that they are. Their weakness is different in health. And it's the same thing in body transformation. Okay. And the other piece is that you may have muscle in an area that I don't, or maybe that, even though they're totally ripped, that Erin and Sarit might, or maybe I have a weak sacral area. So my back, I can't go as low into a squat. So I change that exercise or that mentality to fit my body and who I am.
That was like, you hit the nail on the head. It's like we see so often, oh my gosh, like this really fit person is doing these things. So if I want to be fit like them, then I have to do those things. Or like, oh, The Rock eats a stack of pancakes on Sunday and he's jacked. So if I eat a stack of pancakes on Sunday, I'm going to be jacked. It's like, you don't know the context of somebody else's life or what they've been through or what they're challenged with right now. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to just do what they're doing.
Yeah, and that is the purpose of this challenge as well. We reveal the curtains with regards to what is not discussed, like the principles that are beneath the surface that create a launch pad for creating a strong foundation. So then when it comes to nutrition, like there's lots of talk on follow this diet, follow this diet, follow this diet, follow this diet, where by the end of the day, it comes down to nutritional principles. Because a specific diet may relate differently to each and every single person. What if I told you to be a pescatarian, meanwhile, you're allergic to fish?
That's right.
Like what if you have a severe fish allergy? Shit, probably not going to make it till tonight.
Yeah.
Right. So you can't just look at a technique for a technique. You got to look at the entire 360 wheel. Right. So we talked about movement, we talked about nutrition, we talked about mindset, and then lifestyle. So going back to the rock thing, right? Like actually the other day, somebody told us that, like there was a specific diet called the pancake diet that they used to follow, and they ended up gaining weight. Well, just because The Rock is jacked and he's eating pancakes on Sunday doesn't mean that you have the same lifestyle as him and every single factor to consider as him. So what may serve one might not serve all. Yes. And that's the power of lifestyle habits. Like what may work for, let's say, a female who, let's say, is a stay-at-home mom and probably has more time to cook for herself and her family, is not going to be the same lifestyle to implement for, let's say,
college kid.
Yeah, college kids are not listening to this stuff. Let's say the female entrepreneur, or like a busy career woman, right? Where it's like, dude, I've got 30 minutes a day. Right. So it looks different for every person, right? So you want to definitely take a look at all those things. Should you not, what's the biggest price that you're going to end up paying, and all of us are going to end up paying, which we're already starting to see, that is you're going to fall to the standard of society, which is a very low standard, because right now there's talks about, Holly, you probably heard that, adding cholesterol medication to our water, right? Is this how you want to live your life? Is that the norm, to see 18-year-olds with diabetes type 2 and high cholesterol, right? We're already at a point where 40% of Americans are taking at least 2 medications. Is that how you want to live? So what you do today is going to affect your life 5 years from now. And everybody's looking at their body and, I want these results to happen now. Yes. And where do you want to be 1 year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now?
We say movement is food and food is medicine. And I was just thinking about this. People pay for medicine. You just said 40% of Americans are on 2 or more type of medications. Okay. So imagine this. You pay for the medication somehow, right? And people say that eating healthy is expensive. Well, you're paying for medication. And if you thought about, this is the perfect example of a perspective shift in what we teach, is if you think about it from a perspective of, when I go to the grocery store to the produce aisle, I am paying for my medication. This is my medication. These are the vitamins and the nutrients that my body needs. Your bodies don't come out of the womb being like, I can't wait to be sick. So, that's not how we're meant to be. So if we can learn the way to eat well and just move, we don't have to do intense exercise every single day to be healthy. If we were able to just take care of ourselves nutritionally, mentally, physically, the medications in pill form become unnecessary in most cases.
Yeah, 100%. And if you don't start to eat whole nutrient dense food, we are already in a sick care society right now. So if I can just pivot for a second, because there's a lot of leaders and high performers that follow, like, that are my customers, for those of you that are listening to the replay. And what I want to say is, when we're speaking about sugar, I'm going to ask Erin and Sarit to talk about, like, as you build muscle and as you build your metabolism, how can that allow you to be successful? And, like, really hear what they get to say right here, because food is your medicine, medicine is your food, until your body becomes weakened. And then you either need a supplement, a drug, or an herb of some sort to help bring it back up. Because food alone, if you get so weakened, your cells get tired. So if you can speak into the fact of empowering somebody just by making these changes in this transformation challenge and working with you guys, how can that energy behind that cause success? Because so many people are business owners and they did not start their business and be where they are on just one goal.
Oh, so good. Okay, so this is what I like. So this is what I like to call the health conscious female's dilemma that I see happening right now. You know, this extreme fear of food and extreme fear of carbs. If this is you, pay attention, because
if you thought I can't eat carbs because they make me fat, pay attention.
So the problem with carbs nowadays is that the most prevalent carbs that we see around us are highly processed carbs. It is enriched flour, it is processed sugars, it is corn syrup and high fructose corn syrup. Those are literally deadly to you, right? So, like, for example, as Dr. Donahue said, and I love it, she said, a sick care model. It is, you know, like, traditional doctors like only get 4 hours of nutritional education in their entire like 9 years of schooling. So it is
easy. If you think about food as medicine,
right? So it is easy for them to say, oh, you know, you should avoid carbs, because the most prevalent carbs are extremely processed, right? It is high fructose corn syrup, it is corn syrup, and it is you know, enriched white flour, which is absolute garbage to your body. And yes, you want to eliminate it.
I do want to say really quickly, shout out to all of the doctors and nurses who do go the extra mile and learn more about nutrition and care about their patients and genuinely want to help them get better, not stay in the hospital.
Yeah, I believe that most do. It's just, again, we don't know what we don't know. And that is the standard. That is the current standard of, you know, like
their education.
The medical schooling. And, you know, that's why we love working with you, Dr. Donahue. So anyways, what ends up happening is that, you know, we now have this reputation of, you know, like all carbs are bad, right? When the reality is, let's take blueberries, for example, or pomegranate, for example. Those are fruits that have carbs in them, where it is actually interesting because it has literally like health benefits that are going to extend and enhance your life. And the question is why? Because not all sugars and not all carbs are created equal. And also, if the most metabolic organ is muscle. So as a matter of fact, if you want to actually set yourself up for success, especially for those later years in your 50s and your 60s and your 70s, you want more muscle. Now, in order for you to upkeep your muscle density, it doesn't just happen by not eating any carbs. So the question that we get to ask ourselves is, what types of carbs do I need to eat, rather than just eliminating, you know, those highly processed carbs.
Another thing about carbs that might be interesting to know is that one of the two places they are stored when you do eat them is in your muscle. So the more muscle you have, the larger your storage area is for carbs. So AKA, the more muscle you have, the more carbs you can eat without getting fat.
Hence why The Rock can get away with eating so many pancakes.
Exactly.
That's why it works for him, right?
it's still not the healthiest way to do it.
No,
but
no.
that's
There's just so many underlying things, right? So like not all carbs are created equal. Most carbs out there are absolute trash for you, and that's why you want to really understand those nutritional systems so that you know what should I probably get rid of, what should I eat in moderation, and what should I eat more often. Because here's the reality, like carbs are actually found in most natural foods, and what we need to take a look at is our glycemic index and our glycemic load, because those actually have a direct correlation with, number one, your metabolism, and number two, your weight management
and your energy levels.
Foods that are high, that have a high glycemic load, high glycemic index, they will make you super energetic, and then they'll make you crash. At the same time, they will, also lead to increased weight gain, increased what we call insulin resistance, where over time, that leads to pre-diabetes, diabetes type 2, Alzheimer's, which is, now considered diabetes type 3. So there gets to be a better way. And that's why, it's really important to get around the right group of people who can provide you with valuable information so that you can actually make the right choices. Because by not eating any carbs at all, what you're actually doing is you're depleting your muscle tank. And if your muscle storage is what sets your metabolism up for success 5 years from now, 10 years from now, then what you're actually doing is you're making things more and more difficult for yourself the older you get. Is it any wonder why, this morning,
And then the stigma is created at as I get older, my metabolism is slower, and I can't be the same as I was. But to an extent, yes, but not nearly to the degree that society believes it to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, for example, this morning, so we're currently in Nashville, Tennessee. We're at an event, as you can see. We had to sneak into another office so that we can be here. And, we stopped at a gym this morning and, met a lady, and, we introduced ourselves, and she's like, "What do you do?" So I told her, we help women to gain unmatched confidence so that they can reach their full potential through sustainable habits. And she's like, "Well, do you do that for women who are 50 years old too?" And I said, "Well, absolutely." And she said, "Even through menopause?" And I'm like, yes. And it all comes down to the principles. When you follow the right principles, you set yourself up for success. And it doesn't matter whether you're in your 20s, whether you're in your 30s, whether you're in your 40s, your 50s. We know 60 and 70-year-old women who are literally like in an incredible shape. Like, they have muscle definition, they're lean, their energy levels are stable. They get to have physical freedom, So there is a better way.
Yeah. So I know that Holly dropped the link a couple of times for the challenge that we're going to be doing. That would be a great place to start. If you are somebody who is working with Holly, obviously that resource is an incredible resource for you. We love to collaborate because what we offer and what she offers are from different angles and very complementary and synergistic. So, check out the link that's in the comments and jump into the challenge with us. Starts Monday. And if at the least, what you will get out of the challenge is empowerment and inspiration and fun and other women who understand what you're going through so that you're not alone. And sometimes just that reassurance is all we need to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, and I also want to add that actually Dr. Donahue is going to be speaking on day number 4 with regards to just creative way to reducing inflammation and bloating, because she's definitely an expert with regards to lowering inflammation in the body. So yeah, we look forward to seeing you there. And, you know, like, here's to an era where women stop denying themselves of opportunities just because maybe, quote unquote, they can't do things perfectly. So if I can share with you one thing to help you raise your standards right now, is instead of seeking perfection, seek excellence. We're going to reveal to you principles, and we're going to give you ways to implement the principles that we're going to teach you over those 5 days. And now, regardless of what your week looks like, let's say from an implementation standpoint, you know, if you found yourself maybe falling short or on 1 or 2 things, that doesn't mean that this is not for you. That doesn't mean that right now is not a good time. It just gets to mean, okay, well, what solution can I create around that? Because if you don't face the, you know, the problem that you're running into, like face on, what's going to end up happening is that same exact problem is going to chase you 1 year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And the more time we add, you know, the more whatever you're currently experiencing is going to multiply.
What you resist persists.
Yeah.
And it compounds.
Yeah.
And that is this whole, like, Holly, your storm taking over everything right now is a beautiful example too of, like, just because there's an adversity, just because there's a hurdle or a challenge to overcome it, we mistake a challenge or a hurdle as a roadblock.
Yeah.
As a wall, as a
misfortune,
as I can't get past it, right? Like, you keep getting kicked off and you're like, okay, I go back. And that's what happens is, like, oh, I screwed up on my diet. Okay, good. Get up. Just go again. Again. Nothing's wrong with you. You messed up. You made a mistake. You gave into something. Oh, wow, you're human. Welcome.
Yeah. Imagine if your fearless leader, the first time she got kicked out, was like, oh, well, storm's here. Maybe this is not for me. Right. Like, and then, like, completely, like, drops out of the thing. Right. Actually, the number one secret that is not revealed to you once you learn what is uncovered beneath the surface, which we'll talk about, is when it comes to reaching your potential, by the end of the day, it's a game of leadership, because it's going to be 10% strategy and 90% how you manage your mind around this strategy. Whenever there's a storm, whenever you're traveling, and let's say what you had intended to have, you know, was maybe taken away by TSA at the airport, or,
Something,
you know,
with a kid.
Maybe you meal prepped and for some reason you were rushing because the kids are now getting back to school, and oh shoot, you forgot your lunch. What do? Life is going to continue happening. Are you going to let life be the excuse of why you're not maximizing your potential, or are you going to ask yourself, how can I create a better way?
Life is so perfectly imperfect, just like all of us. And perfection and excellence are 2 totally different things. You can be excellent and not perfect at the same time.
Yeah, 100%. And I love what you guys are saying. I don't know, hopefully you can hear me now. Sorry about that. But, you know, the other piece is you just pick up where you made a mistake and get back on track the next minute. And I say that to patients all the time. Like, don't go into this, I screwed up, 3 months later, you're like down a sugar addiction hole, you know, and it's like, it's just stacking. You made a mistake. Okay, I'm going to do it different. And it wasn't really a mistake. I mean, did it really, like, you know, happen, you know? And it's just, you keep stacking those spaces on top of each other. So I so appreciate you guys, and all of you that are listening, please join the challenge. And I appreciate you being patient with me. I'm 100% on board with all of this, and all of you listening know that. So it's just a storm in my life, spiritual warfare. I don't know what it is, but like it's bad out there. You know? And we just keep going. Like, and Erin and Sarit are just like me. They're gonna keep taking you to the next level. The more you hear this, the more you set in stone and you grab it and you run with it, these pillars are gonna help you get there. And we go ahead.
I want to say one more thing too, because of what you're saying is like, you know, pick yourself back up and keep going after you fell down. We'll call it fall down. It's not a mistake. Oops, I fell down and tripped. How do you do that? Is because it's easy to say that, but then like, how do I do that? Like, that's in that moment, immediately you reach out to somebody who can reach their hand out to you and pull you up. Dr. Donahue, us, that's what this challenge is all about too. Is like, how do I really, all success is in how quickly do you recover from after you fall down? How quickly do you get back up and keep going? And what's in between your ears in those moments? That's it.
And who you surround yourself with. So those of you that are listening, like we were supposed to interview yesterday, no big deal. I got a call and it's like, hey, can you pivot? 100%. I'm going to support people that are like being game changers in the world. Yeah, let's pivot. So I pivoted. Now we're in a storm. Now, whatever, you just figure it out. And Erin and Sarit are amazing leaders. And those of you that have followed me, you know I show up for you. So these are the people that you get to hang around with and create as your community, because it is really true. Who you hang around with is your community. And why we changed yesterday to today was they had an amazing experience to get in with a community of high performers. So it was a no-brainer. They got on a plane and went. And that's what I want you guys to hear, because you get to get up and go and move. And where is the pain point that you're going to stay dwaddling in the energy that you're in, not feeling like your best self? We're in a healthcare crisis, all of you right now. Erin and Sarit and myself are trying to pull you out of that. You get to be 3% of that healthy and not 97% of the people that I'm carrying on my back to get ahead. Like I just spoke to a gentleman all about like autism and vaccinations. Like you guys all know I can go on, but we get to change the trajectory. And this is why we're doing what we're doing. And I just love these two women. They can support you in the fitness piece and in the transformational piece, and you know, jump in on this challenge. I know I called my niece in and I'm like, you need to join this and you get to join this and figure this out because I can't help you. You're my family. So she's joining and I keep saying, yeah, she joined.
Yay!
Yeah, so I'm like, what is your goal? And I'll see her tonight and I'm going to say, McKinley, what is your goal? Like you get to have a goal when you join these challenges. And I know Erin and Sarit are sending out emails and like prompting your mind, read those, click the link and get in the challenge. I'm going to talk about detox, but I'm not going to talk about detox like you should do a 21-day detox. I'm going to talk about your body naturally methylates and detoxes every single day when you give it what it needs.
So good. Yeah. When you were under the storm, I was also telling them that you're going to be speaking on one of the days. So,
good.
Listen, this is about entering a new era of leaders in the self-care industry, not the sick care industry. So you get to jump on board and get ahead, or you fall behind. And trust me, you know, like the average cost of being sick in this country is about $20,000 a year, just from a monetary standpoint. Forget about the emotional pain, the spiritual pain, the physical pain,
the wasted time, being sorry for ourselves.
Yeah, I believe that costs even more. You get to live one life and you get to ask yourself, what kind of life do I want to live?
Amen.
We believe
that's right. And you can change it now before you end up in a waiting room when you're 75 and 80. Like that doesn't have to happen. Sorry, Sarit, I just pulled out and I was like, gotta say that.
We're all so passionate. It's just like, join. Like, you need to do it. Not only do it, as a matter of fact, you need to share this with 5 people who you love and care about. And I'll tell you why. Because the 5 people you surround yourself with, you become. And if they're not speaking the same language as you, guess what's going to happen? You're going to end up falling to their standards. There's going to be an entire day about that.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
When everybody in your
It's all about
world,
intention.
yeah, when everybody in your
Good.
world understands what you're doing, it is easier because nobody's tempting you, nobody's questioning you, nobody's making you question yourself, nobody's making snarky comments like, oh, you're going another one of those things. It's like they're doing the same thing to get it. It's easier. So invite people.
Exactly. And they're often will look at you like, like my whole family worries about what quality nutrition are we going to have at a party. We don't worry about what is the beer and the wine and the alcohol. Like we think about like, what are we going to cook that everybody's going to feel great? And when you feel great, you're happy, you're joyful, and you play more. If you're going to have like that, like junk food, sort of like all these cookies and chips, and I'm not making judgment here, but I've seen it, you're going to be exhausted, like on a kayak, and you can't even paddle.
Yeah.
You're not going to have the energy to do what you want to do. So I love you guys. Everybody join. Do you want to do any closing comments before we like close? And thanks for your patience. Sarit, you've got something to say.
Yeah, we have one life and you might as well create the best one. This is exactly why we do what we do. You may believe it or you may not. For a longer portion of our lives, both Erin and myself, we struggled with our own weight. We struggled with disordered eating patterns. And, like it almost felt like it haunted us, because if you know that you're a go-getter, you look at yourself a certain way. And when you feel like your external manifestation, whether it's your health status or your physical being, is not a true representation of who you are, because you know that you're badass. You're a go-getter. Meanwhile, you want to put an extra layer on when you don't feel like it, or you feel like you got to deny an invitation because you're feeling self-conscious, or maybe because your body is incapable. You can change that, and it's not a life to live. So,
So we'll see you on Monday.
Yeah.
With bells and whistles and time for change. But you guys, everybody set your goal. Like, read the emails that Erin and Sarit are putting out there and think about, like, what is your goal? What is your target? What's one thing that you can change, or 2 things that you can change as you listen to everything that they have to say, because they're showing up for you. They're showing up for you.
And so are you for them. We all are.
Yeah, right. We are. I love you guys. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Holly, for your generosity and for who you are.
Absolutely. And you guys have so much fun, and we'll see you guys soon.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Thank you for coming on.